leave, actually. It has been too good to be here, to meet so many warm, kind people. And that singing was so heart feeling, it was so beautiful. Didn't you think so?
Yes.
Yes.
Children are amazing. So we have been so happy with everyone who came here to visit you. I used to hear Brazil, like I shared earlier, from growing up we used to draw the picture of Pelé. And we had him in books and we'd study Brazilian soccer, football player who was very good. And when I told my brother, I'm going to Brazil, he said, really, I'm going to meet Pelé? No, we're going to meet everybody, all the great people. And so it had been so good. As you saw in the documentary and you heard in my story, the genocide was a horrible thing. A horrible thing I would never wish anyone to ever go through. I would never want to go back to. But it was a lesson, it was an experience that taught me so many lessons in life. And one of them being forgiveness. Before I thought you forgive somebody who have said something bad to you, but not who have tried to kill you. All that came to really be clear throughout the genocide. Another lesson I learned was the power of love. When you go back, when you will see that love is really the only thing that builds us together, that builds families. And when there's no love, that's when you can see wars and genocide. And when I remember about people, who died during the genocide, my family and other friends, the things I remember of them today are the good things they did, the kindness they showed to each other. Not the diplomas they got, not the homes or the cars they bought, they had. It is the kindness, the smile they had to each other. I remember my brother, when he took off his shirt to give it to a poor child, they used to play soccer together because he felt bad that he didn't have enough as him. Those are the things that sticks in my mind. Love lasts forever. It is the only thing that survived the genocide, purely. So it was a horrible experience, and still I go around sharing it around the world. But it is people like you who have invited me here, who have shared with me how my story have touched them, that really give me the passion to continue to share. I remember a man I met, he told me that he was angry with a family member for the past 54 years. He said, after I heard you speak, for the first time in those 54 years, I was able to sleep in peace. Another lady told me that she was mad at her mom for the past 20 years. And she said, after I read your book, I called my mom and we laughed and cried. She said, I can't believe how much affection I have wasted for 20 years. How much affection I have prevented my own children to have from their own grandmother. And she said, thank you. And of course, it is the grace of God. It is not me. And it is the same grace that I pray that continue to touch people. I see many young people today here. I see many teenagers. And one of them recently, I went to speak to a high school, and a boy wrote to me after. He told me that a girl broke his heart and went out with a guy who used to bully him and hurt him so badly. He said, all I thought about was how can I revenge myself? And then he wrote to me, he said, then you came to speak to us. And a few weeks later, I made a decision to go to see them and bless them and tell them to have fun. I wanted to forgive the man, especially him, who did so much bad to me. And he said, Immaculée. Few weeks later, the most beautiful woman in the whole world came into my life. And he told me, I know it's because I was able to forgive that guy. Now I am the happiest man in the world. I pray and I continue to pray again that will continue to be the grace that people will share, people will feel as I felt. As you saw in the genocide, in the documentary, the genocide happened in 1994. I belong to a tribe, Tutsi. We had too many tribes in Rwanda. And my tribe was not loved, but for something the politicians have created to just push their ideas. If they want to push one idea, they would say the other tribe is bad. Then the other one will feel like together they have to help them. But it was something was really at the level of politicians not the leaders, not among people. In my village, people loved one another. If I did wrong, any neighbor would punish me, and when I get home, my parents will punish me twice. It was just like in a big village, a big family. But I never forgot the day it all changed. It was on the 7th of April. My brother, who had just finished his master's degree, came and pushed the door of my bedroom around 6 in the morning and gave me the news that the president of the country died. Somehow I suspected something bad can happen because of the radio you saw in the documentary. They used to say on that radio, which was supposed to be private radio, but later we find out it was founded by the leaders of the country. They used to say how they would kill people from my tribe. We didn't believe them. We thought they were crazy. But actually, they had many plans behind that. Another thing that prepared us, for those who know about Our Lady of Kibeho, Our Lady of Guadalupe, Fatima, Lourdes, where Virgin Mary have appeared, Our Lady Mary have appeared in a place called Kibeho in Rwanda, in a high school, to 3 kids who have been approved so far by the Vatican in 2001. And she cried many times, and she told the children, a horrible thing is about to happen to you, my children, if you do not listen to me, if you do not come back to God and care for one another truly, if you do not come back to love one another, and remember that we are all a big family. I remember she sent messages to the leaders of the church to remind the people, love one another, please preach to people. She told us, pray your rosary. She even sent messages to the president to let people live together in peace, stop killing, and let the refugees come back inside. We didn't listen. So when the president died, I thought, this is it. This is what she was talking about, that can happen if we don't listen to God. And we didn't. So I remember I come out, I met my parents, we were all worried about what can happen. About the end of the day, we had so many people coming at my home. By the second day, we had about 10,000 people. Everyone laying down in the soccer field where my mom was a teacher. My dad was a director of Catholic schools. And they were all, people trusted them. People loved them and really thought they had an answer. I remember my dad was that kind of person. Neighbors would bring him their own children for him to spank them for them. And we'd have a long line around our house of parents with their children. But now I know why they trusted him so much. He'd spanked any child out of anger. He would remind them the wrong they did, why the wrong is wrong, and what the consequences can come. And at the end, the children would be so happy to be spanked. So it was that kind of parents I had, and I'm really grateful that I even had a chance to have them. So I remember one time my dad came to me. He had a rosary in his hand, and he told me that I should go to hide with all those people there. I didn't want to leave. I thought, what if something happened to them? But I truly left out of obedience. My mom couldn't even come close to me. My brothers too. They were just so hard. One brother, however, came near me, and then he told my father, he said, Dad, you are asking her to go to hide to a family of people from the other tribe. And then my father said, yeah, I know that man. Even if things go bad, he will not be able to kill anybody. My father always told us, among many lessons I learned through this horrible experience, he used to tell us, never put people in boxes. Don't judge people because one of the people from that country did wrong to you, or because one of the people from that race, that tribe, that region did wrong to you. He said, always open your heart to people who come to you and judge them as they present themselves to you. And I knew he meant it, but not as that moment. Like, it really was so meaningful in that moment. He told my brother, after he told him he knew that man he won't kill, I remember that lesson. Anytime he told us that, he said, make an effort to deceive people, because if you don't, you will miss out many angels in your life. You never know who God is going to send you if you need it most. So he sent me to somebody who was supposedly supposed to be an enemy. But when I think about it, it's because he gave him a chance to even be a friend of this person who was supposedly coming from the other tribe. I went to this man, he put me to sit in a bathroom, 3 by 4 feet. It was about 20 minutes away from home. 3 by 4 feet, 1 meter to 1 meter and a half. I remember looking first, I thought, this is too small for me. What am I going to do? How can I sleep? He went back and brought 5 more women. Later, he went back and brought 2 more women. We were 8 people in that tiny place. He told us not to speak to each other, not to make any noise, not even to flash the water until somebody else is flashing the water in the next bathroom. He told us he would tell his children that he lost the key of the bathroom. So we were there, we don't know each other, all we need to know is that we're human beings, doesn't matter their names. We sat there cramped. The youngest was 7 years old, so sitting always on the top of us. Towards the end of the week, I remember I have had it. I thought it was too painful to stay in one place. The food he could afford to give us was the leftovers of his children. They ate and threw in the garbage, and then he will come and put it on one plate and give it to us at night. And I used to be very picky in my family, but I had to close my eyes and eat because I was hungry. Towards the end of that week, I was angry. I had all kinds of emotions. I thought if I ever came out, I would become a killer like them. I thought about things I can't really put in practice, just imaginations. I was Rambo. I was flying planes, killing everybody who were killing us. I thought about maybe putting a bomb under the country and just blow up everybody. That's how angry I was. Why us? Why do we have to be the one to go through this? And you know, people go to prison because maybe at least they were accused of something wrong. To be somewhere because they just don't like you, it was so hard to take. And these are our neighbors, people we consider friends. I remember one time, the man brought us food. Then I told him, look, we must know what's going on. We can't stay here, how long? And he was kind. I asked him if he can put the radio outside, at least we can hear what was going on. He put different channels, different radios, and I couldn't believe what was going on in the country. The leaders of the country, the ones who used to tell us to be good to one another, to be good citizens, they were calling people to kill every one of my tribe. Babies, older people, everyone. They were happy to talk how they have killed thousands of people who run to stadiums, who have run to churches. They used to go to churches and they will make holes on the walls and put gas and put fire and blow up everyone who have run into that. And they were so happy. People who had PhDs, people who were smart, talking how they have killed so many children, so many innocent people. And I remember it was just puzzling. How can they do that? People, you know how when I was growing up, my parents always told us, you have to go to school. When you have good diplomas, you are smart, you can do anything. It was really in that moment I remember realizing, if we grow our brains without growing the heart, this can only damage. But if we grow our love here, you can put in order what you learn. And of course, it is very necessary to learn something. And then on the radio, they gave order to start going home by home, to search homes to see if there's anyone hiding. And every single day, they found people. And I remember one time, I was stretching and I looked through the window of the bathroom and I thought I have seen 1,000 people. But later I found out it was 300 to 400 people. People from my village. People I went to school with. I remember one of them screamed loud and he said, I have killed 399 cockroaches. And then he said, I want Immaculée to be the 400. It's a good number to kill. And you think, what have happened to people? They came inside and started to search every place you can think of. The only thing was going through my mind was, they're going to find us. They're going to kill us. It's over. It's a matter of seconds, of inches away from us, centimeters. They came inside. If I can remember what I felt, I couldn't feel my body. I was frozen. And yet I was feeling like I was lying in fire, burning, and I was not dying. And I remember I felt like I had 2 voices on my shoulders. And one voice is telling me, open the door, end the torture. It's too bad. It's too painful. They will find you anyway. Nothing too strange. These are the things we all go through many times, especially when we're facing a challenge. Give up. Why are you waiting? It will happen. In my human intelligence, I couldn't think that there is a way we will not be killed in those seconds. That was a 4-bedroom house. How do you think that they won't find us? And that voice is like, yeah, more reasonable. But then I felt like there was another voice. A voice telling me, don't open the door. Ask God to help you. Stay there, no matter how painful, don't give up. Try to stay here, ask God to help you. Remember, He's Almighty. Almighty means what? It means He can do anything. Anything means what? This is one of those anything things. Well, that's right. Then on the other hand, the other voice is like, oh, there's no God. Really? You think God will exist in a place and a time like this? And truly, in my heart, I could not make up any reason why I ever believed in God. And my faith was crushed. I couldn't remember, is God there? Did we talk to Him before? I thought God is only there when things are going well, not things are bad. Then I remember them asking, so then if it's not God, what do I do? Then the other voice in my heart said, ask God to give you a sign that He's there. If now you are doubting, ask Him to give you a sign. And I remember asking God a specific sign. You know how sometimes we pray for something, when the thing comes, we start to think like, yeah, it's me who did it. It's my friend. I'm smart, I'm lucky. And then God is out of the picture. And yet before, we were calling upon Him. That day, I remember asking God, I'm going to ask for something specific, just so I know it's you who did it. And I remember asking Him, please don't let the killers find the door of the bathroom. I think after that, I fainted. I didn't hear nothing until 5 hours later, the man who was hiding us came to tell us what happened. He told us they went around the house, they went inside the house, in every place you can think of. On the roof, in the ceiling, under the beds. They even opened suitcases to see if there was babies hiding. At last, they came right to the door of the bathroom. One of the killers touched the handle. Before he opened it, he said to the man who was hiding us, he said, you know what, we trust you. You are one of us. There's no way you can hide these bad people, enemies of the country. And then